And this is what we need to tell you. The Ghana Police Service says it will continue to rid the country of criminal activities that disrupts the peace and stability of the nation. The assurance actually follows the interdiction of 2 police officers in connection with multiple bullion van robberies here in the Greater Accra region. Some 4 other persons are in police custody over the recent attacks. Well, what you need to know now is that the Ghana Police Service has issued a statement on this, giving us a breakdown of why and how they've made some arrests actually in connection with the recent bullion van robberies. And you see that on your screens now, the Ghana Police Service indicating that after several months of painstaking intelligence-led operations at the highest level, they've made a major breakthrough in the investigations into the multiple bullion van robberies recorded in the Greater Accra area. These are Kingsway, we also have Bachona, and also Jamestown, as well as attempted robbery at North Kaneshi. These are 4 incidents. Point 2 indicates that preliminary investigations have actually established the involvement of 2 police officers among the number of other suspects who've been picked up. The investigations are continuing, and the Ghana Police Service says that they expect to soon bring all culpable persons to face justice. Point 3 talks about the fact that the public will be giving some further details as soon as possible to give some updates on the ongoing investigations. And point 4 is an assurance which says that, quote, "We wish to assure the general public that the Ghana Police Service will continue to work hard to rid our country of criminal activities that disrupt the peace and stability of the nation. We therefore call on all to support us in this endeavor." So here's what we need to do. We need to break down some issues for you. Recent robbery activities involving persons working with the security agencies across the country. Probably we need to take it way back from 2020, where it all started from, and you can have that now on your screens, where in April 2020 there was a similar incident. A police somewhere in Asankragwa or in the Ashanti region was arrested. Then it involved 2 national security personnel and 9 persons. This was an incident where 2 officials who were supposed to be working in the interest of the state were actually allegedly working in collusion with 9 persons to rob the Atala gold concentration area. And in November 2021 as well, there was another one which happened at Kokrobite, and police intelligence led to the arrest of 4 suspects, including 1 identified as a national security operative. That was not all. There was a 3rd incident as well this year, just when we started the year, up north, Boli, where 4 suspects, 1 immigration officer, and 3 policemen. So this is not the first time 2 persons have been interdicted, as we're indicating, but 3 persons were interdicted for stealing during an operation in the Boli district. And that's how surprising that situation was. But this current one we have is about the recent bullion van robberies here in the Greater Accra region, indicating a clear involvement of some police officials as well. So what's the indication and implication actually of all that's happening? Joining us now is Dr. Ishmael Norman, Norman, I should say. He is with the Institute for Security, Disaster and Emergency Studies, president of the group as well. Honorable Peter Lonchini-Tubu is MP for Wild West. He will join us a little later, but Adib Sani is also on. He is a security analyst. They all understand what's happening now and how we got here. Let me start off with you, Mr. Norman, on this. What's your take really, knowing that some policemen are actually working with these criminals to rob the innocent citizen?
Thank you for the opportunity. I think police of men and women are human, Ghanaians, and they see an opportunity. They see the gaps within the police enforcement mechanism, and they try to exploit it. So the police will always have elements like that, just as we have crooked parliamentarians or university students or medical doctors. It is not unique to Ghana police to have miscreants. The police is a microcosm of the society of Ghana. And so just as we have criminals within the broader society of Ghana, we will have criminals within the minor society of the Ghana Police Force. So I don't blame the police administration. I don't even blame the recruitment mechanism, because the way we recruit students to the university system is no different from the way we recruit police officers. And it's the due diligence after you recruit them that will help you fight it out if with the police force where there is absolutely no miscreant within the force. It's not possible.
And is it the case that you feel this is attributable to the lack of professionalism or the dwindling level of professionalism within the Ghana Police Service? Is that what you're attributing all of this to?
Oh, no. I think we should commend the Ghana Police for the work they have done in ferreting out two of their men that were involved in the bullion van, and which probably would lead to the arrest of a few more people. I think we have to put everything in context. It is not the IGP or the Ghana Police Administration that instructed the men to go bad. They decided, they made a rational choice. And so we cannot blame the administration. We have to look at the individual people. And one of the things they can do to actually reduce the incidence of officers going bad is to monitor and surveil them, spy on them, and make sure that they are actually noticing what changes in their lifestyle. They should do random drug tests, urine tests, to see if guys are on narcotics and whatever, because if somebody has a drug habit, this is just an example, the chances of him wanting more money to buy more drug is very, very high. And there are a whole lot of things that the police force can do to monitor their personnel. But in terms of bad people, they are in the universities, lecturers, we have bankers that are bad, we have politicians that are really horrible, we have parents that are bad, we have bank. So you cannot blame the Ghana police just because several of them decide rationally to become criminal.
All right, then. Let's bring in Adib Sani as well. Adib, you've been monitoring all of these issues. In fact, just last week, we're speaking to you on some of these cases. What do you make of the revelation we're getting from the Ghana Police Service now that two of its own officers are actually culpable in this case?
I mean, it's an unfortunate incident because since the IGP assumed office as an IGP, one of the things he's done is to, as it were, build confidence in the police service. And a lot of things have been done on the ground to get people like yourself and myself to have confidence and trust in the police service. So when things of this nature happen, it negates the successes that have been chalked over the period. But I am tempted to agree with Dr. Norman Hookline and Sinka. The police service is a human institution. And like any other human institution, you're bound to have, some bad nuts. And so I would find it unfair for anyone to paint all of the police service with a single stroke of brush because of the actions and inactions of a few of the officers. There are a lot of very well motivated other, officers who are out there putting their lives on the line to ensure that you and I are safe. Even in the most advanced jurisdictions, I don't know if you've heard about the Dirty 30 police scandal that rocked Harlem in New York when 29 officers were interdicted and later charged for drug offenses. So this happens to almost every police institution. But my biggest problem might be with the rampant nature of it. If it becomes more like a daily ritual, then we would have every reason to be worried because it would dent the image of the police in the eyes of the public, which I must say would complicate the way they do their work.
And if we could just bring to your attention the statement that we're having from the Ghana Police Service. In fact, the Ghana Police Service issued a statement, and on point 4 of the statement that they issued, they're giving clear indications and giving assurances that they will deal with issues of crime here in the country. Are you convinced by the assurance that they're giving at point 4 of the statement which they're releasing to the public now?
Well, obviously, I mean, the fact that the police even comes out with this information in the first place is indicative of their unflinching commitment to dealing with crime, whether it is their own or not. And one of the issues I've observed about the police service is the seeming lack of accountability. But I've seen in recent times that IGP Dampare is taking none of that. I mean, whether you are a law enforcement officer or a politician, once you fall foul of the law, it has to catch up with you. So if really we want to deal with the threat, we need to nip in the bud the cycle of impunity. This also gives us a unique opportunity, in as much as it is detestable, to take a closer look at the recruitment regime. You see, there are two sides of the coin. Either the officer was already a criminal before he was recruited into the police service, or perhaps he got compromised on the way. And when you take a closer look at the processes involved in the police recruitment, what do we call it, procedure, the first is the completion of the police application form. Then you would attend an assessment center. After that, you go for an exams and, of course, an interview. They also undergo medicals and fitness tests. Then the most important part of it, which is the background checks, is also done. And the question is, to what extent do we check the backgrounds of these individuals who come into the police service? Because when you go to other jurisdictions, and there's an international best practice so far as background checks is concerned, they check to see if you have ever engaged in any felony, if you've ever been convicted of any felony, if you've engaged in any serious misdemeanor, if you are into drug use or past drug use, if you were dishonorably discharged from the military or any other security service, if you have a bad credit history, that includes a student SNIT loans, you know, we used to take when we were in school.
All right.
It's also about the history of domestic violence, unreported past crimes, etc. So the question is, to what extent do we, you know, investigate to know the kind of people we recruit into the police service?
Which you feel they are not, which you feel they are not really doing. Let's wrap up on this conversation. Dr. Norman, as we wrap up, what's your expectation of the police going forward in dealing with some of these cases? Dr. Norman, we're having a challenge hearing you. If you could unmute for us so we get the point you're making. It appears we're having some challenges. Honorable Peter Lonchene-Tubu is a former service person himself. He is now a member of parliament. So let's get his thoughts also on what's happening. Welcome to the polls. First of all, the police service has interdicted 2 of its own personnel, allegedly for involving in acts that led to the robbery incidents that we recently witnessed here in the Greater Accra region. Are you surprised about this development? Honorable Peter Tubu, I'm asking if you're surprised about the latest revelation we're getting from the Ghana Police Service. We seem to have a very poor connection.
Can I say something?
Well, Adib, so yes, Adib, you can wrap it up for us. What point do we go home with, particularly now we know that the Ghana Police Service says it is continuing with investigations?
Well, we need to look at the recruitment mechanism to ensure that the proper background checks is done. A lot of it also has to do with the psyche of the police officers. To what extent do we train them? Do we imbibe that sense of patriotism in them. Because trust me, they come across a lot of juicy offers. So if you can imagine, if at the end of the month you're supposed to take home 2,500 cedis, then from nowhere someone gives you an offer of 100,000 Ghana cedis. I mean, you take a lot of weight, a lot of professionalism, and that sense of patriotism for you to say no. And of course, we also need to deal with the issue of impunity and get officers to understand that oblivion of whether you are an officer or not, the uniform you wear doesn't grant you that invisibility, and the right things has to be done.
Right. We need to wrap up. I'm grateful, gentlemen, for joining us. Honorable Peter Tobo, I understand is back on the lines. Honorable, I was asking if you're surprised about the revelation that 2 of the officers were interdicted in this recent bullion van robbery attacks that we're learning of.
Thank you very much. Let me say thank you for the opportunity granted me to make some few statements about this serious matter. Everybody in this country, including the police, is a potential criminal. I've always said that. I am not surprised that the police have identified some people amongst themselves to be probably getting connected with the serious crime that we've all been looking at. I am not surprised because, the police service is a society and it's controlled by systems. There are entry requirements, there is a maintenance portion, and there is an exit strategy. So at the entry point, that is the recruitment, there are processes that people go through. Of course, it's not a watertight system. So you might find 1 or 2 slipping through the system. But when you slip through the system, Ghana Police Service Regulation 2012 ensures that because of continuous supervision and monitoring, you will be identified one day and flashed out. And that is exactly what has happened to these young people that I suspect they got into the grips of their own system. At retirement, it is expected that, at least I have always suggested this, that the police will ensure that they do exit interviews. Somebody has been in the service for 40 years, and when he's about to go home, nobody talks to him or her. Nobody takes down the experiences over the years to document them for others to come and learn. So let's look at what is it at the entry point that we need to do better. What is it that at the maintenance stage, the period that you are in active service, that we need to continuously monitor and make you look better? And what is it that we need to get from you at the tail end of your service when you are retired? If you're able to do this, I'm sure that we'll continue to build a watertight system to ensure that, the police service says that if you are not qualified to be there and you find your way to be there through other means, the system will expose you and you'll be flushed out. Today, these young men have been gotten by the system. And if it is proven that they were really involved, they will be flushed out of the system.
There are questions about the recruitment process going into the Ghana Police Service. I mean, how is it possible that someone would go into the police service without due diligence in terms of checking their backgrounds? What was the experience like when you were in the service, and what can you say about the process now?
Thank you very much. When I was joining the service, some 25 years ago, what happened was that after all the processes, there was something we call positive vetting. Positive vetting is the last phase that will qualify you to be trained and pushed out there as a police officer. And I was told by my father, when I graduated and went home, that the BNI people, those days now we call them NIB, they went to my village, spoke to my father, spoke to my mother, spoke to friends that I attended school with. They went to my primary school, went to my middle school, went to my secondary school. And they got everything that was supposed to build me into who I am today. So they are actually looking at proving that I am a person with moral integrity, that I am a person with integrity, that I am somebody who is amenable to training, that I'm somebody without any criminal record in the past. And after that, the criminal investigation department will take your fingerprint and run you through the system. And that is why if you have a national database of biodata, I'm sure that if they run your biodata through the system, you have ever committed any crime anywhere, it will be detected and you will be prevented from donning the uniform as a police officer or even as a soldier. But these days, we seem to be dropping or downplaying the effect of the importance of positive vetting. If it is a financial challenge, it is better to recruit 1,000 people and do proper positive vetting and get them into the system than to recruit 5,000 people. Out of that, probably 10 or 15 of them will be criminals. One criminal in police uniform is more dangerous than 100 armed robbers.
Okay, then what's your recommendation? Would you recommend that at this point, at least, we should have an audit of the police service? Where would that be too much of a cumbersome process? Asking that we check the police service, do another thorough background check of some of the new recruits, or perhaps we go back to a certain threshold in terms of timeline?
It is all about funding. I'm sure that, the police service is quite old enough. If we have enough money and we decide that we are going to do reforms, and we go to do complete reforms of the Ghana Police Service, looking at the new policing required in the 21st century, I'm sure that it wouldn't be a bad thing, but it's all about funding. There is a lot that has gone in there probably through wrong hands, and if we go in for reforms, a lot can be done to weed out the rot. One criminal detected in the police service is like a pandemic. One criminal detected wearing police uniform should be treated as a pandemic, and we should take it serious. This is just the tip of the iceberg. We shouldn't be excited about it because this is not the first time. It is neither the last time we are going to see this, but we need to rise up as a people to do something about it so that collectively we'll have a system that is better to monitor people who are wearing uniform, to ensure that they are accountable and accountable to the people and the law as well.
Peter Lonchinitobu, I'm grateful that you've been able to join us here on The Pulse.